Hello, Facebook family and friends. This is another episode of the Hatchett Chronicles. I'm T. Hatchett, and
Yeah, y'all know what's up. You know the vibes when I'm rolling up. Paul Bell. Wow. What's up, bro? It's been a million years. What's happening? Mike Smith. Mike, what up, Mike?
okay, so before we get started with this episode of the Hatchet Chronicles, we want to update you and do our shout outs as we always do. My book, The Power of God, is still for sale. Anybody interested? I am me. Text me.
I'm good, fam.
Reach out to my husband. I am him. Let him know. Still selling my book, The Power of God.
Nikki, what's up?
I also started a new venture, Hatchet Social Circles, and it's for businesses. I promote businesses and get you set up on social media and promote you through social media. So you can hit me up for that. I just started that business, so hit me up for that.
Ma, what up, bro? I'm doing my Hatchet Chronicles. You know what it is?
What's going on with you?
Nothing.
You don't have anything
I
new?
have nothing.
You're not doing that with your life?
I ain't doing nothing. I'm sitting around.
I'm sorry. You
Who the
ain't
man?
doing nothing with your life.
Hey, yo, I was trying to get in touch with you, man. You need to holler at me about some things, bro. We got some things going on.
Excuse me, you just said you ain't got nothing to do with what you're doing with your life. You sitting around and now you telling somebody out there that you got some things going on.
I'm saying, me and him got to do some things. I don't have nothing going on. I'm dry.
You dry?
Yeah, I'm dry.
How dry are you?
How I ain't got nothing jumping off right now.
Woo!
Nothing. No, actually, on the 20th of this month. Now, this is my bad too, y'all. My niece, Elewa the God, is having a video listening party because we did a single and she did a video, but they reshot the video. So she's actually, they just did another video. So they're doing a video release party, and she's actually finished with an EP that she's getting ready to drop. So they're having a listening party at a studio downtown in Atlanta. You know what? If you look on Facebook, there's a flyer that she put up, and it's Elewa the God. The flyer is up, so you can, and I actually reposted it, so you can go to my page and you can see the flyer. But that's going on this Friday, the 20th. That's going on, and
the 21st.
No, the 20th.
Okay.
I'll be in the building showcasing beats and stuff like that. You know, it's gonna be some artists there. Nice little quaint joint. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be about 30 people, 40 people there. We got food, drinks, you know, and contraband.
So I thought you didn't have nothing going on. What about your beats?
I'm dry.
No, so, he has some beats going on that he been creating, y'all. He trying to.
We got that. Actually, I'm working on a new little project with two of my dudes from back home in Newark. I'm actually working on an EP with them, Dot Bundini and the big homie Stomp. I don't know, actually, we only 2 joints in so far, so you know, y'all could keep an eye out for that joint right there. You know, I did a couple slammers on there. You know, just moving, man, trying to put things together, man, you know. Trying to, yeah, we watching. Keep watching. That's what's up. I need y'all to tune in. Hang on 1 second, please.
If it ain't God, don't call back.
God
damn, Grizzle. Okay.
Hey, yo,
That's so unprofessional.
check this out. I'm right in the middle of doing my Hatchett Chronicles, man. I'm live on Facebook right now. So, all right, cool. I was just talking about the EP too. So, I'll hit you back in a minute. All right.
Okay, so that's what you got going on.
I got that, and you know, me and Trey still working on this. I don't even want to let the cat out the bag, really.
Well, then don't.
Because I just wanted to slam, and when y'all get a load of it, this is, man, listen, it's just not nice. It's just not nice.
Okay, can we go on to the subject for today?
Didn't you ask me what I had going on?
Yeah, but you
all
said
right, and I'm not done.
Okay, now
I'm not done. Now I'm not done.
At first you was dry, now you're doing a bunch of
I'm not done.
Which is excuse us, we're in this is what we're in right
all right,
now.
So I'll recap at the end of the session here. And now we could get on to the subject of today for the Hatchett Chronicles.
He's so cute. That's my husband, y'all. You're so cute.
Womp, womp, womp. I can't.
Okay. All right. We gonna be serious now.
My success. I'm in the session, but just.
I'm in the session.
No doubt. That's what's up. I appreciate it.
I see you and Mrs. working.
Hey, Ma.
I'm working. I don't know about him. He dry.
Hey, Maul, I've been trying to bring him back. He ain't coming back, man. I just talked to him the other night. I actually sent him a beat, too. He ain't coming back, bro. He's not coming back, brother.
Okay. So, subject today is marriage. It's actually when do you get married and how soon is too soon? That was the question that was proposed to us. Well, me, and then I told you about it. So, you know, we are very spiritual people. So, this is speaking from our spiritual, which is all we ever do. We always say we're not really giving advice. We're just
speaking from our own standpoint, from what we deal with.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not like an expert opinion or anything like that.
But what does expert mean? I mean, you know.
There's really no expert opinion.
Yeah. So, you know.
I mean, but if it's an opinion, it's just an opinion.
Yeah. It's just
so if you call it your expert opinion, then.
Well, this is our expert opinion.
We can't do that because Matt Hoffa has a podcast that he does called My Expert Opinion. So we can't copy his.
Well, that's not our name.
No, this just is our expert opinion.
Yeah.
All right.
Our name is Hatchett Chronicles, but this is just our expert opinion on the questions.
Okay.
Okay. So let's ask you first, since you got a lot to say with your dry self.
I'm dry. I'm so dry. I'm so dry.
Baby. Okay. Let's get serious. First of all, what would you say if somebody asked you when is the right time to get married?
When the right time to get married is when you're with somebody that is in love with you. Period. And that may sound simple, but you have to look a little more than just that. What I mean by in love with you, I mean they're not there for your money. They're not there for uh, a financial gain. They're not there for what they could get. They're not there for frivolous reasons. They're there because they are in love with you truly. Like, and when I mean someone that's in love with you, I mean to the point where if y'all have nothing, will that person still be there? If something happens to you physically, would that person still uphold the vows and be there for you? If you lost your arms, would that person still be willing to be there to hug you and to cook for you and to make a sandwich? I know that sounds funny, but it's the truth. Because if you lose your arm, somebody might bail out. Like, nah, I can't even hug me no more.
Yeah, exactly. You said if they lost their arm, will they still be there to hug you? They can't hug you because they don't.
You know what, y'all? I don't know what was in her tea she was drinking. Maul, you stupid. You said rest in peace, big head. I'm gonna tell them that.
But I get what
it's a point where you have to know that that person is gonna be there for you no matter what. That's the right time to get married. You don't get married because you want to stay in the country and get a green card. Or
who do that? Where they do that?
What? What? Man, listen, they out here.
Who do that? You telling on somebody?
No, I'm saying I know people out there that do that.
So I feel
sort
like my answer to that, if you're asking, then you're not ready. Because I feel like that you'll know and you don't have to ask. What?
See, but it's Kevin Morris.
Covert. Is that Covert?
Yeah, and Camille.
Oh, hey, friend. That's a birthday girl.
Hey, birthday. Hey, birthday.
You still celebrating?
Kev, what up, sucker? You have to understand that even if
there's a reason why I say that, though. The reason why I said that if you gotta ask, then you're not ready to get married, is because, like, you just know. Like, for instance, with us, there was no question, and we got a lot of opposition about it, but we knew.
But sometimes it's a lot of tomfoolery.
Yeah, that's because they're not ready.
And you may think you know, and the other person may think they know. You know what I mean? But that's not very well the truth.
Well, see, then that means that you're not
connected.
Yeah, you're not connected with God, because if there's foolery, then you're not. Then there's a lot involved with that. Like, are you finished with all your mess inside of you? Is all your mess inside of you cleaned up that it's not going to spill over in your relationship?
Yeah.
Are they finished with all their mess in their relationship? Are you asking questions? Are both of y'all asking questions?
That's something that you need to do before marriage is even thought about.
Exactly.
That's something you need to do when you first meet.
Yeah, it was the question with the hard questions asked, not the question, how many kids you got, what church you go to, do you have a job? Those are easy questions. I'm talking about the hard questions. Like, do you have insurance? Can you bury you if you die?
What is wrong with you today?
I don't know, baby.
Yo, I don't know, y'all.
I'm sorry, y'all.
Whatever.
I'm sorry.
Listen.
But seriously,
I have a herb thing that I do. And I'm not talking about marijuana. I'm talking about ginger, turmeric, you know, those herbs with a special herb tea.
That I make for my husband every morning.
I have this tea every day.
I make it for him every day. And if I don't, he asks for it.
It's a good tea. It helps with inflammation. It keeps you healthy, right? I don't know if she had a cup today with some different ingredients and
I did not.
But
I'm just happy. My husband is a great man, and you know, we had a good
Thanksgiving.
Yes.
We had a good.
You know, we had a good. We just been okay. So you know, he makes me happy. And so
God is good.
I'm just in a very good mood. Anyway, getting back to it. Seriously, you know, I made a joke out of it, but for real, the hard questions need to be asked. You know what? You know,
and don't be afraid to ask those questions because you have the right to do that because you don't have to settle. You don't have to settle. And when you settle, you're doing yourself a disservice. And you're doing that person a disservice because you could very well let them go and let them find somebody else.
And and here's the thing, like for instance, here's a question. Okay, so you might feel like that you want to be celibate till you get married. The other person might feel like they don't want to.
They want to test drive the car.
Both of y'all are right. There's nothing wrong with that. However, what's wrong if y'all try to get together and mush that because you have to go on what your morals and your beliefs are, and they have to go on what their morals and their beliefs are. You can't say, well, since they believe that, you know, I'm gonna try it because I love the. You know what?
It'll never work.
Love does not a relationship make, and for real, I learned that. And it's not, that's not saying that, you know, I don't love my husband and my husband don't love me. But a relationship and marriage is much bigger than that. It really is much bigger than love. It's what? I don't know. It's God. And although God is love, it's on another level.
Love is the highest level of understanding. Okay, and with that being said, you need to understand totally and fully what you're getting into. And if that means to ask a million questions because you want to know what's going on, and this is going to be your life with a person, and you have that right to ask those questions. You have that right to actually involve yourself. You know, and involve them in what you're doing. You have that right to involve them in what you're doing, but at the same time, you have the right to ask all of those questions that you need to ask. And you can't be afraid of asking those questions because a year down the line, 6 months down the line, you know, may be some questions that you didn't ask that you've been holding on to and you want to ask, but you didn't because you thought, that might be kind of inappropriate. Or if I ask that now, this person might back away from me. And, you know, I really like this person, but this might, you know, turn them off from me and this might not work. We won't hit it off. If there's a notion like that in your mind, then it's not going to work. That's not the person for you. Also, I believe that.
Acceptance. And I say this mostly for our women, because our women, we do this all the time. Accept the answer. If it walk like a duck and quack like a duck, it's a duck. You can't say, well, they're a duck today, but after, you know, we've been together a while, they're changed into a chicken. We women do that a lot. And
I was with a duck.
Quack, 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 quack.
And it turned into a chicken. I'm out.
I mean, if you want a chicken, then be with a chicken.
Yeah.
But if it looks like a duck, then it's a duck. Okay, you can't make a duck a chicken. I find that us as women have a lot we spend a lot of time trying to change a person and make them something that they ain't, even though they might have said this is what, or they might have shown you who they are. Maya, in the words of the great Maya Angelou,
and still I'm dry.
Believe, if they tell you who they are, believe them. Okay, so you can't change anybody. So if you ask a question and they give you an answer, you have to accept that answer for what they gave you. You can't say, well, they said that they feel this way, but they'll change it. 9 times out of 10, it won't change.
No.
What the way they believe is the way they believe. It's like having babies, and mostly women are the one. Now, I'm not, everybody does this, men and women, but we are more on a different level of emotion, women. And a man might say, I don't want no kids. And you might think, okay, well, he say this now, but after some years, he'll change. If he say he don't want no kids,
he don't want no kids.
Okay, you can't change that. Don't.
If he say you don't want no kids, get a puppy.
No, go to somebody. If you want kids, go find somebody who want kids like you want kids. That's all.
Get a puppy.
And I know it sounds, life is not that simple when you're in love. I understand that, but you have to look at the deepness of love. Are you really in love? Because if you're not compatible to that person, what type of love is that going to be down the line? You can't live for the moment or be in love for the moment. Unfortunately, it does not work.
That's just like the song. You got to love the one you're with.
And that's why so many couples are not making it, because, you're
not loving the one you want. You're loving the one you're with.
Yeah, and you're not being truthful to them or yourself.
Exactly.
You're not. How it is how it is. How it is. For instance, a good example is my husband and I. We talked about and asked, and I'm still asking. I still ask questions. Sometimes maybe the same question in a different way, but I still ask questions. It might be too late now because we married, but I just want to make sure. I just want to make sure I heard it correctly. But anyway, it's like, if I was to change on him now or be something that he does not, we didn't speak about, then he has every right to be upset about it. Because from the get-go, we were like, hey, I don't want no drama. If there's going to be drama, I'll back out.
Yeah.
This is how I am. And if you can't take this, then let me know, because I can go another direction. And it sounds cold, but guess what? It works, because at least we knew where each other was coming from. We had an understanding. There's nothing I can't talk to my husband about. And we're in our little perfect bubble. And understand what I mean about our perfect bubble. Our little perfect bubble don't mean that we don't get aggravated with each other. It don't mean that sometimes we don't have disagreements. It means that.
But we don't argue.
Exactly.
And we don't yell at each other. And we don't call each other names. And we're not disrespectful to one another. And regardless of whatever happens, I pride myself in asking my wife what's wrong so we could talk about it. And at that moment, if she don't want to talk, it's okay. It's okay. Because eventually she'll come around and she'll say, well, what was bothering me was, and the floor is open. And then you can talk like two adults, because me screaming at you and you screaming at me, there's never a solution. There's never, ever, ever a solution. And it'll just get worse over time.
Hey, Sylvia.
Sis, what's happening? I love you. It'll never get better. It'll just get worse over time. So with that being said, you got to be respectful, and you have to be mindful of the things you say. You can't, how deeply in love could you be with a person, right? And this is just my point of view. This is just me and the way I feel. But if I tell you that I love you with my soul, how can I look at you, excuse my French, and look you in your face and tell you, fuck you? or we get into an argument and I call you a bitch. That's not acceptable. That's not that's terrible. That's terrible. That's so wrong. That's so disrespectful. And that is so not of a man. I don't care what nobody says. And that's just my personal.
And to add to that, your man is your king. He's your protector. That's what God made him to be. He made us from his side, his rib, to be his helpmate. The Bible states that a man is supposed to treat his wife as he treats the church.
That's right.
So if your protector, your king, is saying F you and calling you bees, what type of protector that is? Because that means that if he treats you like that, anybody can treat you anyway.
And that's so disrespectful. I could never look at my wife and say those things to her. I could never do that. I could never do that. Never, ever, ever.
And at the same time, my job is to be his helpmate. My job is to support him. My job is to treat him as my protector and my king. And that means that my king and my protector has the last word because he knows what's best, because he's a man of God. Now, here's the key words to how this whole thing works. First of all, the reason why I can say that is because I know that he is a God-fearing man of God. Now, you can't have no king and protector that's not equally yoked with you, because how can you trust somebody who is not even on the same, or I'm not even going to say on the same level, is not even believe the same way that you believe? Because just because you believe this, let's say that you're spiritual and you believe in God and you believe that your man, you're supposed to be the helpmate. If he don't believe it, then it's not going to work, because he don't believe the same thing you believe, so he can do anything he wants because.
And then if he's believing anything he wants, he's expecting you to look at those values and those things and look at it in his way. You know what I'm saying? And if that's not what you want, and if that's not how you feel, then what type of relationship would that be? Let alone a marriage. So with that being said, you can't force yourself to get married because of frivolous things. And don't get me wrong, when I say frivolous things, I don't mean, that these things that we're discussing are not important. But I say that to say that I'm not going to say frivolous. I'll say the most important things you need to get out in the open, and you need to take care of those things, and things need to be discussed. Like, you need to have
no doubt. You need that's
right. You need to know yourself first of all. You need to have trust in your mate.
Equally yoked.
Be equally yoked spiritually, right? And be mindful of the things that you say. You have to be mindful of the things that you say. And do. You're right, baby. Mindful of the things that you say and do. Those things right there is a start to a great marriage if you have those things, and those are the things that you cling on to, or those are the things that you kind of pattern your marriage after. If
those are adult things.
Yes,
so
it is.
You have to put on your big girl panties
and your grown man drawers, and man
in
up,
order to be married.
Right.
That's when you're ready for marriage. When you got on your big girl panties and your grown man drawers.
That's when you're ready for marriage. Can't just get married because you feel like this is the one, or because the sex is good,
or she looks good, or he looks good,
or her body is nice, or he's handsome, and he might have
or money. He got money, or he driving a Benz.
Right. and his credit is A1.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those things, those are the frivolous things to me. Those are the things that I call frivolous, because those things come later. They come later, and those are not the most important things. The most important things are
Know that self.
knowing yourself,
Equally spiritual.
being spiritually yoked with one another, knowing
and mindful
and,
of
and
what
mindful
you do
of what
and
you do and say. And the ultimate thing is having trust. If you have no trust, you have nothing. You have nothing without
communication.
trust.
Communication.
And communication.
Yeah,
Communication is one of the most important things also. You have to communicate. Whether you want to or not, whether you're a talkative person or whether you're an introvert, you still have to communicate in a relationship and a marriage, because it's not just you. You're one. So you have another person to think about.
And did you notice there was no love in that? I have known marriages.
All of those things
are love. But guess what? I have known marriages that people have been married for years, and they had understanding and a trust, and they don't love each other. But they had an understanding, and it worked for them.
That's a contract.
It is a contract, but it worked for them. But if you are, for me, if you are able, not really, because they wasn't miserable. They just had an understanding. They had kids. You know, back in the day, if you got pregnant, girl pregnant, you were supposed to marry them.
I mean,
and they made it work.
Okay, you make it work. I'm not going to say miserable, but for me, I couldn't do that.
No, I mean, I'm not saying it's the right way to be. I'm just saying that with the understanding and the trust, the communication,
Kel, what's up,
they made
Kel?
it work.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I just, being married because of a situation, that's not true. Yeah. It is, but it's not. It's not of God.
Well, having sex and getting pregnant before you got married wasn't of God either.
No, it's not. But I mean, but here's the thing. Okay, so that happens, right? People, they getting busy right now while we talking. There's somebody in this world, they getting busy right now. But my thing is this: to be in a marriage that's just strictly a contract, we're together because we understand.
No, we're together because we got pregnant and our parents made us get married, but we're gonna make it work for the child.
There's no love in that. There's no fun in that. There's nothing in that. That's empty. That's empty.
They had enough love to raise their child.
That's so empty.
They had enough love to raise their
child. Of course, you're gonna love your child. So I'm gonna front, and you're gonna front when we're in front of this child.
So they had enough respect
to
for each other.
Okay,
to be with each other until the child was grown and out of it.
And then now you go your way. So you just did 20 years. You just did 18
Some of them
years.
Stay together because that's what they're comfortable with.
You did 18 years, 20 years until the child is out of the house. You did 18 years, 20 years. Now the child is out of the house. Now it's y'all. Now it's y'all two again, right? Mm-hmm. But throughout those years, those things that you wanted that were truly meaningful to yourself, that you really wanted yourself.
What you those are things you raise your child.
Okay, that too. But I'm saying, aside from that, that's not the only thing. That's not the only thing. I'm just saying the true love things, the hold hands, the cuddle up, the go and walk in the park or take a trip together, do some things with her. Or her do some things with him. Those meaningful things. All of that is lost because it's just a contract.
My husband's so romantic. I heard you.
Will somebody hurry up and end this damn program?
He's so romantical.
G-Rock, what's happening?
Okay, so I get.
Clarence Bell, what's up, Uncle? What's the deal, Uncle?
I get what you're saying, and you are so right about that.
You can't be in a relationship for 25 years and be empty the whole time. And you just, because we say it all the time.
Yeah,
you can't just be with that person just because for the kids.
You're just assuming that they wasn't in love. They might have been in love, but just not ready to get married.
They may not have been in love. They just probably loved each other,
but wasn't ready to get married.
And respected each other enough to do that. Which, okay,
so
but that's not true. That's not. It's, to me, it is. That's my opinion, and I'm not knocking anybody that is in that situation, or anybody that's done that, or anybody that begs to differ, or if you're in that situation now, I'm not knocking it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking. Who am I? No, I'm serious.
I am not a cook.
I'm not knocking that. I'm just saying, to me, those things aren't. That's not a reason to be married. It's not.
And I agree with you. I was just playing devil's advocate.
It's not a reason to be married. That's not a reason.
Okay, so the second part is, after all that, well, how soon is too soon? Like, let's say,
there's no. Now with that.
Do you believe in love at first sight?
Yes.
Do you believe that somebody can meet somebody and let's say 2 weeks later get married to somebody and it lasts?
Mm-hmm.
And what makes you believe that?
God.
Oh, that was so sexy. Such a sexy answer.
God is love. And if God's love is raining on you and he said this is who you be with, that's what you be with. And he'll let you know if that's the one for you. That's my opinion. I'm not saying that for everybody out there. So, y'all rock out how you rock out. But I'm saying my opinion is, yes, I do believe in love at first sight. Yes, I do. Yes. Because God is love and he is a miracle worker. He can put that one in front of you that will be with you for the rest of your life until it's time for him to call you home.
My husband asked me to marry him, and 5 months later we was married.
So.
But we knew we cheated kind of.
But we knew each other for 5 years.
Nobody else knew that. So we kind of cheated. But it's still possible. Yeah, I mean, when I believed that when he said God told me you was gonna be my wife, I might not have believed it at first when he first said it, because I was being a smart behind. But I did, after a while, believe it. He did prove it that. Well, I consulted with God.
Yeah.
So
see what my uncle said?
What?
He said, "Well, I can't really."
Whatever happened to just being happy with each other? Kids ain't got shit to do with it. Where is the love just because you want to be around each other? Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I agree with that. What I was saying is that if you was forced to get married, could you live to, like back in the day where you got a girl pregnant and the parents made you get married? I think that's more of like the white thing. Black people don't usually do that.
Because look, the brother, man, look, I ain't married, huh? Man, listen,
white parents don't really do that. But I don't think, I don't know. I don't even mean to offend nobody. But I was just,
but because there are situations like that. There are cultures that make you get married at, 16.
Just for the fact to get married. They done gave you, pimped you out.
Khalid Jones, what's up, Khalid Jones? What's up, cuz? That's right, not for what they have. That's right. That's right, That's right. That's the deal. That's the truth.
Well, you supposed to love somebody for who they are and not what they look like. And because if you're loving somebody for what they look like or what they have, that's definitely not gonna work.
It's definitely not gonna work. It's not a true relationship.
Yeah.
You have to love a person's heart.
Yeah.
With your heart.
Yeah.
Unconditionally. Just like I said earlier, if you with a person.
But you won't know that. And you know what? Yes, we're speaking on our opinion, but I truly, truly believe with every answer of me, you won't know that if sex is involved. Because sex will
taint the situation.
Taint your feelings about, especially us women. That's why so many men, we can say something to a man and the man be like, yeah, she say that now, but let me put it on her something. You know why men believe that? Men believe that because of us. Because that's what we do. We be like, okay, well, they say that now, but they'll change their mind. Because once you have sex,
it changes the
yeah,
narrative.
you take things. It's like, well, I don't believe in this, but
I'll roll with it for now.
I'll roll with it for now because you getting something good.
Wrong.
Physically.
Wrong answer. Wrong answer. If you love it because of sex and the sex is right now, then that's not going to last. It's not going to last.
And when you take the sex out and you don't have nothing else but to look at that person to look for you, then there's nothing else. See, there's nothing else but what's real, what's right there in front of you.
Here's my thing. The meaning of unconditional love and the meaning of what I said earlier when I said you marry a person that's in love with you is you're in a marriage. You get in, it's crazy, but God forbid you're in a marriage and something happens. I don't know, you get into a car accident or something and the man can't perform. He can't have sex anymore. He's paralyzed from the waist down and you can't have sex. Is she still going to love you like she did before that happened?
Well, if she had issues with you, those
no. I'm saying
come back around.
I'm right.
Exactly. So
right. No, she's gonna be ready to go.
Yeah, she's gonna be ready to go because those issues gonna come up.
But I'm saying if she's genuinely, unconditionally in love with you, sex don't last forever either. That's
exactly, and that's the problem.
I'm telling you, that's
it. It does not last forever.
Clay, what's happening? It doesn't, and it doesn't make the situation better either.
No, it doesn't.
You have to be like if you're with someone and you can't have sex with them, can you still smile and joke? Can you still be happy in their company?
Can you still look at them and be in awe
and still be in love and still have those feelings when your heart is beating and your hands are shaking?
And another thing
is,
what happens if y'all get in a situation whereas not just like things happen and you don't feel like having sex. When you're married, things happen. Okay, yeah. When you're together, things happen. Financial things happen. Everything happens, and sometimes you just don't feel like doing it because you just don't have that type of day. Okay, can you still be in love with that person in the midst of a issue or in the midst of something going on and the sex is not there? Because when you first get together, everything is always peachy. Everything is always good. Sex is good. Everything is always good. But when you're married, then other things come around. Can you deal with that? You won't know. Exactly. And you won't know if before what tainted you was the sex.
That's right. I told my wife before we got married, I ain't want to have sex. She looked at me like I was crazy.
No, that's not what happened.
Wait. I said there will be no.
Yeah, after I said to you, I told my husband, and I'm going to be straight. I said to my husband, because at the time he told me God said he was going to be my wife. So I was being a smart behind. So I told him, I said, well, wait till I tell him this to see what he says about this. That'll change. So I told my husband, I said, well, I want to be celibate until I get married. And he said, oh, most definitely. He said, there will be no sexual intercourse until we are married. My first thought was, yeah, that's because he on the phone with me. And at the time, we was living in 2 different states. I said, as soon as he see me, that's going to change. That's what I said in my head.
Blew her boots clean off.
That's not what happened when I got with him because he was serious about that thing. Then I had to go through some changes with myself to realize that, okay, this man is serious because it was hard for me to deal with because I was saying it, but I was like, I didn't expect him to really live through it. So he kind of taught me.
You're right. He said looks fade, fun fades, sex fades over time. Then what?
Exactly.
Facts. That's a fact.
And that's why I said, and what I learned from him through my husband is that we went through some trials and tribulations before we got married, and even after we got married. But what kept us strong is that the fact that we didn't have sex before we got married to taint our feelings. I had my husband and all his emotions and everything that came with him, and he had me and all my emotions and everything that came with me. And there was no sex to say, oh, well, maybe I'll put up with it. Anything that I didn't like about him, I just didn't like about him. Anything he didn't like about me or got on his nerve, it just got on his nerve. There was no tainting to it. So all our feelings was upfront and real.
That's a fact.
And that's why to this day we never had an argument, because
and that's crazy. We've been together 3 years and we've never had an argument. Never. We have, I'm so
because all
thankful.
We had was to talk to each other. All we had was to deal with things face head on. We didn't have the, well, I feel this way about him, I'm mad, so let's jump into bed and make up. We didn't have that. All we had was the realness of each other.
That's right. And man, listen, when you have that, that's when you have everything. That's when you have everything. That's where the love comes. The internal love comes. Yeah. That's right.
Exactly.
When you have internal love for a person, that's the greatest love that you can ever experience, because you know that, God blessed us with this house, this house we have right now. We got a nice truck outside and everything.
God blessed us with everything we have.
We have everything that we have. God blessed us with it. If he decided to take all of it away today, as long as he didn't take her, I'm happy. I'm happy, because together we can get all of this stuff again, and he'll give it to us again, because that'll be a test from him to see if our marriage is really what it stands on. If I'm really the man of God that I am.
And we have been through it already.
Yes, we have
been through with not having a roof over our head, not having a vehicle.
Right. And right now is the time. It's our season for blessings now. Mm-hmm. Because we stood every test he put us through. Not having a roof over our head.
And we were put through tests directly. Before we got married, we said we wasn't going to have sex, and we ended up having to live together without having sex. That's a test for your behind.
Yeah, that's a
Let
test.
me tell you.
I was cool with it. I was cool with it. I was
wasn't. Okay.
Because I made up in my mind that I didn't want to get into another relationship at 50 years old, doing the same thing I did at 40 and 30 and 25. That everything was just, because the sex was dope. You know what I mean? And we had a little bit of things in common and had a little something going on, that everything would be good. I wanted to know that I had a person that loved me, not for the money I had, not for the company I kept, not because I was this producer and I know people in the industry and I be around, jokers and, anything. I just wanted to know that they wanted me for who I am, good, bad, and indifferent. Just me. That's it.
Okay.
Sylvia wrote a book.
Yeah, but she makes some good points. You want to read it or you want me?
I can't see my glasses on.
Okay. So Sylvia says, I feel faith, communication, trust, love, sex will all play a part in a marriage. I believe all I'm going to say is when God send my husband my way, it's on. I'm just keeping it real, and I hope the nigga talking about he don't want to fuck.
Oh.
And excuse my language because I'm out. No, it's not all about sex, but it plays a big part in my life. Now, once my husband can't fuck anyway, that's okay. due to whatever the reason is. That's where the tone.
You know
Okay,
what, Sylvia?
so
This is a family show.
okay, no, I want to address that. I feel you, family. I wouldn't have been with that either, but for the man I'm in love with, I would have sacrificed as well. Okay, and see, that's what I'm saying.
No, she's right.
That you are exactly right, and that's where it was with me, because I felt the way you felt. I was like, I ain't married nothing I can't test, because it might not be, right for me. And that was, and for real, that's what I believed.
But I'm gonna tell y'all something, and this is what I believe, and this is what is going on. When you're in a situation like that and you pray about it, and God sends you a woman for you to be married to and that you're going to be with for the rest of your life, our physical thinking and in our flesh thinking, yo, man, if this person ain't nice in the bed, I don't know what I'm going to do. It's going to be 100 years. I got to be with this person. You know what I'm saying? I got to sneak out and get something on the side or something, because this is a lame sleep and all of that. No. When you're married to this person, you say, God, I invite you in to my bedroom. Bless my room. Bless my wife. Bless our sexual contact. Bless us. Bless us in what we have. Bless not sex, but bless the love we have for each other. Bless our intimacy. That's some of the best sex you'll ever have in your entire life. And every time you do it, it gets better and better and better.
And let me just
not to
testify to that. He is 100% right,
and all of that. But
and that's something that he taught me. I was a minister for ordained minister for 9 years before I married my husband. And when I tell you he taught me. That's what he taught me. Because my thing was, I said to him, I asked the questions to him, because I was asking. I was like, okay, so we doing this. I said, but what happens when we get married and one of us is not compatible to the other, or we're not good?
Sex between each other.
And he said to me, if God ordained it, then it will be right. And so that blew my mind, because, of course I didn't just accept it and be like, okay. It was like, okay, but he said, and I went with it, but it was trial and error. That my husband actually did, because a couple of nights it did almost get carried away. He actually invited God in between us two, and honestly, I thought he was crazy, because I was like, did you really just invite God to come in between us? Something wrong with you, I thought him and me was crazy, to be honest with you. But he kept telling me, my husband kept telling me, if we do this thing right, when we get married, everything will be okay. He kept giving me that affirmation. And when I tell you, he was right. Because, see, you know what? I believe God does have a sense of humor, because I walked down the aisle with 102 temperature, and with my wedding night, I went to bed and I didn't get up for 3 weeks because I was that sick. I had the flu. So I still had to wait 3 weeks after I was already married, because I made such a big deal about it.
Yes, you did.
Before I got married, like, I can't wait till my wedding night. Everything was about my wedding night.
And was God counting down the days, counting down the seconds, and I was like, babe, just
and let me tell you, God made it so that I still had to wait another 3 weeks.
3 weeks after we got married, no honeymoon.
But I learned from it.
No, no honeymoon. We had our honeymoon, but we didn't have that honeymoon for 3 weeks after we got married. How about that? Because God will He will
test, and that's what he did. He taught me. He confirmed what my husband was saying to me by making me wait an extra 3 weeks afterwards. But when I got up, I was reborn again, because he didn't just teach me about that. He took the alcohol out of my mouth after that 3 weeks. So there was a lot of changes that he rebirthed me into.
Mm-hmm.
Good changes, positive, spiritual changes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I learned. So I understand where you're coming from, Sylvia. But when the man is right, then that's when God starts to work. Because it wasn't really about me and him at all. It was about God.
That's right. It was about putting our trust and faith
Mm-hmm.
in God that he would see us through this thing called marriage.
Exactly.
And see us through the rest of this thing called life with each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And with that being said, it's been a beautiful ride. It just gets better. It just don't get me wrong, y'all. Sometimes we have our days, man.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we have our moments, you know. But I wouldn't trade those days or those moments for anything if that would mean me losing my wife, or having her walk away from me, or me walk away from her. I don't know what I would do without her. And that's real. I'm being a 1,000,000%. And you know, you can't love someone more than you love God, because God will take that from you. If you put your time and effort into something more than you put your time and effort into him, God is a jealous God. And he will let you know that, you know, you putting too much into that. You need to, you know. So I know where the line is drawn at, but I'm just saying, this woman is for me through my soul, not just of a thought. This is a woman that's for my heart and for my soul. And without her, I don't know what I'd do.
And I think God works on that too, putting too much in. Because I've struggled with that, because my husband honestly is the man. You know, I've been married twice before. This is my third marriage, but this is my real marriage. And for me, this is my king, and I love him so much. And so I've struggled with not putting him above God, or understanding that he is man. You know, he is man with his mistakes and his quirks. He's not God. So I've had to be careful not to worship him or put him in a position of God, and know that he is God's gift to me. That's what I always say. He is God's gift to me. He's not God. He's God's gift to me. So, of course, he is made in the likeness of God, because he is a God-fearing man. So, God's gift. But God will, he will help you with that too. This marriage is just like anything else in life. It's about God. At the end of the day, it's much bigger than you, yourself, or your feelings or your flesh. It's about God, like everything else is.
Mm-hmm.
So the timing of marriage, the person to marry, is all about God. If you look to the hills from which your help comes from, then you will find the right one.
Mm-hmm.
And the marriage will be right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the answer. It's not no, right time or right one. The right thing is your belief in God.
Right. That's when you know it's real. If God ordains it, then it's so.
And Sylvia, you'd be surprised what you put up with when God is in the mix of it. Because trust me, those 5 months was some comical moments. So you have to concentrate on God to get through something like that. Because I was with you. Trust me, my mind frame was much like yours.
I made it a pact with myself and with God that this time around, because it was my third marriage, that I wasn't gonna taint my relationship through sex. That I wanted to know that what I had was true love, and that I had, you know, unconditional love from someone. Not that we were together because you know, the sex
But
is
he
great.
went through his experience because I threatened him and everything.
Man,
I
this chick
threatened
used
to
to
rip
come
up
to
his
bed.
clothes.
She used to get in the bed with no clothes on. And I'm talking about, we ain't have a king size bed. She'd be laying right next to me, fully naked. And I'm like, you know, this is crazy, man. But you know what? Lord God just
And
helped,
he used to go to bed like it was. He used to go to bed like he was getting up with his clothes tucked in, like he was getting up to go somewhere. Like when you get dressed, that's how he used to go to bed. He used to get dressed to go to bed to keep me away. I used to hate his clothes. I'd be like, when we get back, I'm gonna burn up everything you got. I'm gonna tear up all your clothes.
It would be to the point I would lay on top of the blankets while she laid under the covers. I lay on top of the blankets, and man, listen, only your arms is coming out, and we'll cuddle from there. But I don't want no skin touching and none of that, because I don't want temptation, and I just made it up in my mind that, you know, because for a time I was just rocking with this one for that reason, rocking with this one for that reason, rocking with that one for that reason, and never had a full package. You know what I mean? And you get tired of a pacifier after a while. You grow up and don't want a pacifier anymore.
That's true.
You know what I mean? So with that being said, I just said, you know what? I'm going to wait, and God is going to send me the next one. And if that ain't till I get 60, then it is what it is. I'll have to wait until then. You know what I mean? But right now, I'm not looking. I'm not trying to holler at nothing. None of that. I'm just going to kick back and do me, get into me and take care of me and do the things that I need to do for me to make it to the next step in life, in my life for me. You know what I mean? And then here you come. You know what I mean? So it was meant to be. It was a thing, but I'm happy that I did decide to do that, because maybe I would have missed. No, I wouldn't have missed out, because what God has for you, He has for you.
He wouldn't have let it happen anyway, because those 5 years we missed, and I'm good at catching on this stuff. We missed all those signs, and we missed everything. So it wasn't meant to happen until he was ready for it to happen. So, you know, because had it not meant to happen, then we probably would have got together within those 5 years somewhere along the lane, or so we would have did. We would have been just like
all the other times.
All the other times. But God meant for us to be together, so He made it so that we didn't have the connection until it was right. Yeah. Friendship is very important.
Yes, it is.
I am so glad that he's my friend.
She's my best friend.
Yep. And that's
I can talk to my wife about everything. I can talk to her about women I used to sleep with and everything. For real, and she's laughing, but it's the truth, and I can.
You can. I was just thinking about.
You know what?
You're crazy women.
You and Sylvia both need y'all behind the kick.
Child, he had some crazy.
Sylvia, see what you start, yo.
I'm just saying.
And look, sis is a avid Hatchett Chronicle fan.
Yes, she is.
Because every time we get on the Chronicles, Sylvia is right there. And I love my sister.
It's nice to have another female, because, you know, all these men chiming in, which I don't have nothing against you guys, but it's nice to have somebody on my side.
Well,
it was again another wonderful, happy Hatchett Chronicles. I appreciate everybody who tuned in. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We really appreciate the support. Keep it coming. The questions, I've been getting questions. So, you know, if you have any topic, you want to discuss, please let us know.
Any topics you think of that you might want to discuss, anything that you might want to, you know, go on or whatever, inbox us, inbox my wife, inbox me, you know, on our Facebook page. and we'll definitely bring those topics to light. And you could join in, and we'll discuss them with you. If you have questions, if there's some things you want to know about, or there's some things you need to talk about, and it may not have anything, you may not want to discuss it on the Chronicles. It's all right to inbox us, and we'll talk to you about it. We thank everybody for joining in each time we come on to do the Hatchett Chronicles. We really appreciate everybody's input.
Get my book.
Yeah, the book's a great read. It really is.
I'm getting ready. I think God is putting another book in my spirit, so get that one beforehand. I don't know what it is yet. I'm letting God lead me. For those of you who own a business and want to promote it, maybe you're not on social media, I'm here. I am me. I can help you promote your business on social media. The Hatchett's Social Circles is my new business venture, along with my cousin.
And like I said, we got a few things going on. I got some stuff coming down the pipe, and the more the closer it gets to the venture happening and all of that, I'll start posting stuff up and let y'all know where y'all could go get whatever, or what the deal is with the new projects and stuff like that. Right now we just in the working stage, and Richard coming. What's happening, Rich? We just putting things together right now. So, and like I said, go on my page. Y'all can see that there's a flyer for this Friday for a release party.
Those of you who are in the Atlanta area.
Yes, that are in the Atlanta area.
Georgia. Also, I didn't say this in the beginning, but because I'm not really into the standard holidays, Christmas, Thanksgiving. I believe in Harvest Day. I believe in Kwanzaa and family gathering. But happy holidays to the people, who are celebrating the holidays.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy holiday time to everybody.
Yeah.
To everybody.
Hopefully we'll see you before Christmas and New Year's, but if we don't,
we
God
should.
Willing.
We should.
God willing, we will. But just in case we don't, I want to send my love to everybody out there in Facebook, bro, family, and friends, all.
We send our love, and we appreciate you tuning in.
Yes.
And with that being said, was another episode of Hatchett Chronicles. We love y'all, and
yeah, peace.
Deuces.